Good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Semchuk, and this is my co-artistic director for a visual representation, Tia Ashley Kushnerek. And together we would like to welcome you to the second online iteration of Toy Guns Dance Theater's Dancing in the Park. This year's festival includes artists from all over the country and beyond, but Toy Guns and Tia and I are situated in Treaty 6 territory, Amiskwaciwâskahikan, or Edmonton. For many generations, this land where we live, create, learn, and make dances has been the traditional territories of the Cree, the Saulteaux, the Blackfoot, Dene, Métis, and Nakota Sioux nations. We are grateful to be here virtually with all of you across many traditional territories and recognize that we are a part of a larger journey of growth, creation, and working alongside all voices that call this place home. We encourage you to check out the Indigenous territories and lands that you are situated in right now as well. This year, we had the immense pleasure of co-curating this 4-day festival with 3 incredible and impactful young artists from across the country. This evening's show, or Program 3, is curated by and features the work of Chenise Mitchell, aka Spinal Rhythm Jazz, from Tkaronto. And, of course, one of the beautiful benefits of online programming is seeing people from different places connect and share their ideas. So, each program includes a post-show talkback with the artists to engage in an open discourse about their experiences and speculations of art making in 2021, and their thoughts on the expansions and intersections of dance, identity, film, performance, digital art, and many other things. Be sure to stick around after the films to witness a conversation between Program 3's curator and artists, which include Mpoe Mogale, NASRA, and Elvina Raharja. This festival is free. However, donations are really what allow us to keep our festival running each year. And if you'd like to support next year's programming and the artists involved, you can click on the link in the video description below or in the live chat. I don't know which way it is, so I'm going to point in both directions. Anything at all is much appreciated, including sharing this festival with your friends, colleagues, family. There is one more show tomorrow. Tia and I, on behalf of Toy Guns Dance Theater, would love to take a moment to thank the Alberta Foundation for the Arts, Edmonton Arts Council, Canadian Summer Jobs, City of Edmonton, Government of Canada, Aria Evans, Yvonne Ung, and Sahara Sandblasting. Without the support of these individuals and organizations, events like these would not be possible. And finally, thank you all so much for joining us for Dancing in the Park Online 2021. We are so excited to share these films with you. So you can grab a snack, grab a drink, a couch, a chair, a lawn, and enjoy the show.
I am angry. I'm happy. To have found you beneath my feet all along, buried, waiting, and never forgotten. Leonard Gibson, Ola Skanks, Ethel Burnett, Catherine Brown, Olga Spencer, Joey Hollingsworth, and Ronald and Ronnie Crump. The guardians I was unaware of. The ones I could have looked up to. The ones before me erased. Lost. I searched, I dug, and I found you all around me, alive and waiting. In memory of the brave men of the province of Alberta, who in the South African War of 1899 to 1902 gave their lives for their country's honor. The scale and bold design of the Mawata Armory exemplified the wave of national pride that greeted Canada's strong performance in the South African War. Standing in the middle of a war, between two forces that were contesting who'd be the victor of pillage, slaughter, and rule. Thousands dead, millions to follow. A celebrated affair. I couldn't have imagined that I would have found you here, alive. Erased, not forgotten.
I am here, I am safe, and it's okay to be.
I never said I was an angel. I never meant to be a hero. You got a secret that I couldn't tell. I'm real good at keeping things to myself. You and me, no one else. Treat me well, keep me close. Keep your makeup on the top shelf. Ride with your jewels and inner wisdom. Cause you're always leaning on me. Reach out. Tell me if you can't make it. I wanna give, wanna get, wanna bet, wanna dream, wanna love, but I can't yet. I gotta wait, gotta stay, gotta know if I see you when I wake up. I really wanna wait up, but this feels made up.
sifting through whiteness. It was a daily duty. Since an early age, I knew the codes. What's it like being told from a young age that you're just too much? Disheartening, disapproving, dismissive, distancing, distracting, destroying. So, begin dreaming instead of doing. No wonder I felt like I wasn't enough. Start detangling. I thought this sifting was an everybody thing. My struggle was just the artist's journey. A journey we all started at 5 or 6. No? Chin retraction. What kind of mind tells a child to be less? Disbelieving, discouraging, disappointing, disheartening. Shoulder shrug. Look, I'm curly, frizzy, not tangled, connected, weaving, intertwined, open-minded, bonding, brought up in a place trying to straighten me out. Success, not without happiness. They told me to tie it up, hide it, and then told me to stop hiding. Told me I'd have the job if I were longer, taller, smaller, blonder. Told me I'd have the job if I were a man. Cement feet. Could they see what I am? Or just what I'm not? Memories. What kind of mind tells a child to be less? Depressing, pressing, pressed. The pressure wants us smaller than we're meant to be. Tight and stiff, ignoring the rhythms, stomach ache. Room for only dreams. But at least there's that. They asked me to come, asked me to stay, and told me that leaving was as good as giving up. Clench fists. I'm on hold, emptying my soul for the chance to show my excellence, while the same artists show us once, twice, thrice, and get 4th and 5th chances. Why can't I get one? Eye roll. These people aren't worth your time, you might say. So I emptied my pockets, paying rent, eating cheap and on the go while I worked day and night selling jeans. I can just pay the bills when I pay them no mind. Success? Happiness? Dreams. Even without sleep. Clench fists. But I get a chance a couple times a year from folks who see my sparkle. Few folks who truly see me are in a position to lend a hand. Grateful to know the ones that can. Sigh. But when my head bobbed up long enough to see the oppressive waters our egos and power trips and empty words and dirty money and guilt and, since we can't say it, racism, I'm up to my neck and I don't believe my eyes. Tight. Chest. Tight. Chest. I was privileged enough to have a family with pockets just deep enough to put me through programs. So many programs. I gave things up at 7, 9, 15 to dance. Instead of French, dance is my second language. I assimilated, I grew, I was traumatized, I graduated with my head held up above the muck. But which muck is what? Years later, I go to auditions to be treated as if I'm not an artist too. Do my peers feel this? Does it weigh on them? Do they even see it? Sore throat.
I see my white and adjacent peers do the same thing over and over and get paid. Why can't I? Ears burning. I listen to hands smack together, the same hands that smack my dreams away. Every artist works hard, but whose work pays off? Which work pays off? Which work gets paid? Which work is valued? Who is valued? Who is even seen? Headache. Close eyes. Breathe. My wounds wake my ancestors. They tell me to find the good news. I do. I have sensitivity strong enough to keep me safe. Shoulders drop. I have courage strong enough to lift me. Hips release. I have confidence strong enough to bring others with me. Beat. I have joy strong enough to be shared. Smile. I have love strong enough to grow. Breathe. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Program 3. Welcome to the Talk Back. I am Chenise, an artist and the curator of Program 3, and I would like to start here by acknowledging and practicing gratitude for the land that we are on. As we acknowledge the land beneath us that is sacred and has been home to many Indigenous peoples for millennia, I would ask you, if you know, to imagine what the land was like before we were here and say the names of the first peoples on the land where you are today. So as we settle, we can tune into our connection to the ground and acknowledge in our own way the original peoples of this traditional land that has been stewarded by Indigenous peoples for many generations. In Mississauga, that is where I am. It is the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, Huron-Wendat, and Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. I want to note that the city of Mississauga states that the presence of colonial powers has made it impossible for the Mississaugas to access hunting and harvesting lands and waters that they were promised would be shared. These colonial actions continue today, and the art and dance sector have also had a hand in actions like these. We are each on our own journeys to decolonize, re-indigenize, and reclaim. And I hope that this land acknowledgement and gratitude for our land continues with you in some way past this program. As artists, we are creative and have many tools at our disposal to encourage actions that affect our world in great ways. I am very passionate about the ways that I use my voice as an artist. I call myself a jazzer now because I create with rhythm and connection to humanity at the core of my practice, performance, and education. I have been on a journey to uplift and empower us BIPOC artists, especially those of the African diaspora who are too often not given the recognition we deserve. I'm on a path of reclaiming jazz from my Black ancestors so that it can be community, connection, healing, and uplifting for us again. So I will let the artists introduce themselves. Take it away, Mpoe, NASRA, and then Elvina.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mpoe Mogale. My pronouns are they, them. I was born and raised in Mogale, and today I find myself in Mohkínstsis, which is in Treaty 7. I will pass it on.
You can, Mpoe, you can tell us which film and what kind of artist you are.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chenise. I will be presenting the film Erased, Not Forgotten. And I am primarily a movement-based artist who really loves dabbling with interdisciplinary art. So I love connecting with folks, particularly Black folks in art making and Indigenous folks in art making. Yes, I will pass it now to NASRA.
Hey everybody, my name is NASRA. Thank you, Chenise, for curating such a lovely and intentional space. That land acknowledgement was very much alive, and I'm grateful for that. My pronouns are they, them. I'm calling in from Lenni Lenape territory, also known as Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I am a movement artist who draws a lot of my inspiration from other disciplines that are also part of my art making, like poetry and theater and music. I love creating space for queer people and for Black people and for melanated folks to be as unabashedly themselves as possible, as loud as possible and as proud as possible. And I am grateful to be a part of a program that is doing that too. So thanks for having me. Elvina.
Hi all. I'm super grateful to be here. I'm just like sharing the room with amazing artists. My name is Elvina Raharja. My pronouns are she, they. I am originally from Bogor, Indonesia, but now I'm calling in from Toronto. That's where I've called home for the last 3 years of my life here. And I will say that myself, I am a multidisciplinary artist currently focusing on dance and film, and I make dance films. My current research currently is like focusing a lot more on mental health and self-identity, especially coming from an Asian background myself, and with that like history and culture background as well. Yeah, the piece that I will be presenting today is called Puan, or translation woman in Indonesian, and it's all about that journey of self-discovery and that liberation as well. And then, yeah, I will have a better notes on the video, don't worry. But that's it for me.
Thank you so much, the three of you. I feel this is a great space today. I'm so happy to be in your presence. And I also want to acknowledge the diversity of knowledge in here with the four of us. I can include myself in that. I know that between all of us, like, you know, we're in Canada now, three of us. NASRA's we're all on Turtle Island, but I know that our backgrounds are just like really varied. And I could also say that I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I feel that our within all of us here, just the connections that we make and that we have made in our journeys to understanding our own identity just pull in many things. But dance is a really special way to express ourselves. Congratulations on your films. I definitely found a deep connection with all of them, so thank you so much. And some things that I noticed between them were writing as a form involved with your creation, or even in the film as well. Tenderness, joy of expression. There were some smiles in those videos too. Admiration, breath, location, searching and finding. And so I recognize the healing that through art that you are all manifesting. And so I'd like to start asking, how does healing through dance affect your relationship to your audiences or who you're presenting to? We can just go in the same order as well.
Yeah, I think I've been very hesitant on who takes in what I have to say during such like an intimate moment. Like art making and dance is not. A good friend of mine once said that like you can't lie through the body. The body holds so much truth. So I've been very hesitant because the location that I'm in, Mohkínstsis, and in general Alberta, the people that come see these shows are white folks, you know? So then they must be an influence on my performance. Yeah. So I've been very intentional on creating spaces where I'm seen, like where the audience really sees me, and therefore I'm able to really dive into what I'm trying to communicate in my art. It's been easier now that we're doing films instead of like live performances, because you don't really have that much control with the live performance. And of course, in a film, you don't have that much either, but to be in your own space, to have somebody behind the lens who sees you as well. Yeah, that has definitely shaken shaken me in really great ways. So yes. I will add more and plus one more as folks are talking. Yes, I am done with this thought.
Thank you, Mpoe. If I may just interject, I love that. Your body cannot lie. It's so true. And as dancers, I think like we have such a close connection to what's going on in our body, right? Whether or not we're attuned to it all the time, like aware of what it is saying to us, like it's just saying, you know?
Yes.
And I actually hadn't thought about film as like a protection in a way. So that's, yeah. NASRA?
Yes, genius already, genius everywhere already. God dang. I think I resonate a lot with what you said, Mpoe. As protection, it's funny, my piece, Forest Floor, it wasn't even supposed to be shown nowhere. Like it was not supposed to leave my photo booth. You feel me? So I think in relation to audience, it definitely is. It was a choice, you know, when I learned about the opportunity to just offer up what I already have. And it came out of actually me preparing it was like an improv warm-up for me to prepare to start working on a piece called Orb, which is in this like larger kind of short film that I did with Good Women. And that whole piece was about protection and like creating a space where I could intentionally express outside of myself, like a boundary, and the kind of like threads that are alive in a room with me while I'm performing, something that allowed me to name physically what I was actually doing in a room when I'm moving my body, and to create some type of energetic protection around myself so that I can be seen, but have autonomy the whole time. And as a healer, as like a spiritualist, I think it's like been more and more important for me and to create a practice around performance, ritual, ceremony that allows me to engage with myself, my ancestors, my, you know, unseen whatever energies, everybody else is in the room, like something that takes into account all that's happening when we say we're going to share. Because I was finding out that I was getting quite burnt out, and especially as a poet, just like speaking my trauma, speaking my words, and then just like, bye, leaving the stage. So Forest Floor was really cool because even though it was like a warm up to me doing that piece, it already kind of like had me practicing accessing that vulnerability, but by my own terms. And me deciding to share it, I think is a part of that, is me saying that I get to also honor practice, and practice being the point. And just because it's not shot all types of fancy, that it can still be worthy of an audience. So all of those things I think are healing for me.
I love, Zoom things. I love something I thought of when you were speaking, NASRA, and something that you remind me of actually, like just in knowing each other, is that boundaries don't have to be like an electrical fence. There's that saying, like boundaries don't have to be like fire to someone else. Like, it's you showing up, and who's gonna be magnetized towards that is who's gonna come. And those who don't, like, that's fine. If they don't get it, they don't get it. But we all get it. So, Elvina, love to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's such a profound question, and also like you two already answered it so like thoughtfully. So I'm like, I'll try my best to share my thoughts. So I think like how does like healing through dance affect my relationship to my to my audience? In terms of this film that that I'm going to premiere again here is like the premise of this film is a coming of age performance for me, like exploring like self identity and like womanhood, you know, as a young Indonesian person like myself. And it's definitely like inspired by my upbringing and my own healing journey as well, because back home things just exist in a binary. It's either you A or B, but please be A, don't look other. You know, like, so it's really just like so black and white, and I never really feel like fitting in society, you know, because I was what considered as a fat Asian growing up, and also I was not following the like I was like really tomboy at that time too, so it was just like I was not the perfect cookie cutter Asian woman at all, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So I feel like so lost for the entire most of my life. I mean, still now, but we're having a better idea where we're headed. But you know, yeah. So these films like that I proposed at first to Kane Asian was just like I just want to explore this idea of like self identity and like liberation. Like, what does it look like for me? So it's really a personal project. It's like kind of selfish because it's just like, this is my story, this is from my history and everything, and like let's see how does healing, how does liberation looks like for me. Because again, I always aim for intentional creation that are authentic and honest, and that's always been like my go-to in my creation. And when I first premiered it with Kid Asian, the reaction was amazing. It resonates in many ways with my audience. Mostly like it was like mostly Asian audiences as well, but also like it resonated with a lot of people from outside the background as well. And it was just like, wow, yeah, art is subjective, and I think when I create from such an authentic place from my own story, it can like resonate with people in so many different ways. And I think that's just like the beautiful things about healing or dance, you know, or healing in general, because like it's not one size fits all. All of our journey looks so different. It's like it's a roller coaster, but in the best way, you know, for like healing. I think that's yeah, that's all for me before I ramble too much that it doesn't really make sense, but I hope that answer it quietly. Yeah.
Thank you, Elvina. It totally makes sense, and you brought up some really great words that I connected to as well, like talking about selfishness. And I feel that, you know, we each did solos, right? And we each did the creation and the performance of it. But I also feel, you know, some of us have had, like Elvina had this premiere before, and so you've gotten some feedback as well already. But yeah, just this idea, I love sort of turning I love turning a lot of words on their head to be like, actually what we have turned these words into are not what they truly mean. So like the word selfish, it's about you and your story, but there's things in there that many people can connect to, right? And so yeah, I just wanted to mention that. And also the boxes too, that sometimes dance can force us to put ourselves into, right? And especially, you know, like what I was talking about in the introduction, like I am really passionate about how colonialism has shaped dance and how dance has shaped colonialism. And so, yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Sorry, before we move on, I just wanted to mention NASRA said Good Women. Good Women Dance is a collective. Is that right? In Edmonton. Yeah, for anyone who didn't know that one. Yeah, so I actually was thinking about your processes and my process, if there was any crossover with editing yourself during it, and how you worked through that. I know for myself, there's times where I'm like, I want to do a kick, I want to point my foot, like, am I really reclaiming a pointed foot today, you know? Like, I'm kicking my leg up because I'm excited and it looks like something somebody told me wasn't right about my, you know, it's like there's so much to work through at every little step. So yeah, I've done a lot of work on, okay, just kind of like let your inner child be, let it come through, and like this is part of the healing to let it go. So I didn't really ask a question there, but I see a lot of head nodding, so maybe we'll go in the same order.
Oh, Chenise. I am working against that so hard right now, because the other way I had trained so hard in. So this is one of the hardest things that I've ever had to unlearn, which is moving like, you know, human dancers, not just dancers, you know. And something you mentioned about boxing yourself is that when you do these multiple, like when you're engaged in multiple ways of moving, you aren't necessarily taken seriously, right? It's like when you're focused on like one form, one art form, then yes, you are definitely like, yeah. But yes, working really, really hard on like really questioning aesthetics when it comes to dance. And yes, yeah. I would appreciate tips.
Oh man, aesthetics. I think this is such a juicy bit. Like I know we could talk about this for hours. I know that personally I am like, I had to go through my Instagram like a few weeks ago and just like look at all like how long I have actually been sharing my movement. Just like me in my room, me playing around, like outside of me being in the studio. I think I've struggled a lot with imposter syndrome as a dancer, and like experiencing a lot of fat phobia, experiencing a lot of anti-Blackness in the studio, and especially like knowing that for as long as I can remember, my first impulse was to sing or to dance, and also knowing those are the things that I have the most conflict with in terms of expressing and letting my inner kid just like do their thing. But they're the oldest relationships I have to my body. And so I know that like watching myself, like recording myself, like just literally taking stock for how long I have, some part of me has acknowledged that this is worth documenting. Like this is worth, you know, like, and how it's actually just become a part of my life, so much so that I stopped valuing it in certain ways. And a lot of the training that I've had here and there, that has kept me from valuing the way that my body just like naturally expresses itself, the way that I just enter into a practice without thinking that it's a discipline or thinking that I'm training. I know that my ass, my body shape, my all of these things have like, you know, looking at lines, thinking about is this worth other people thinking that I'm a, like, will other people think I'm a dancer by this video? Well, and not just the dancer, like, yeah. So I think like thinking about the external validation and the gaze, and breaking that kind of that relationship and really interrogating it and being like, who are you doing this for? And could anyone actually ever stop you from doing that thing that you're saying that you're an imposter in? Like, how much work would it actually take to stop you from doing that? And I realized, like, damn, nobody is stopping this ass from shaking. I can assure you that much. So then, like, can I just like let go? Like, if nobody's actually gonna take this from me, can I let go and have fun? And that's why I'm like proud of sharing Forest Floor, because it was a moment of play for me, like exploring and listening and just like being a kid again and allowing myself to just listen to what my body is trying to. Ooh, okay, those little twinkles are getting my little shoulder going. Who knew? Like, what do you have to tell me? Like, and just playing into that curiosity, because now I don't have this fear that it's going to be taken, because capitalism does not live here. Does not live here.
Thank you so much. Elvina, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, imposter syndrome is my number one enemy. That is so real. It's just because when I create the film too, or just like dance in general as well, I was just in particular like this project too. I was so clouded with like a lot of self judgment and doubt. Because it was a commission by an amazing organization, and it was like the most money I ever seen for my art. And I was just like, shoot, people want to pay me, this little kid that is just like, and I was just fairly new to the Toronto dance scenes and all of that, and I was just like, oh my god. And I feel like such an underdog. And so I keep asking a lot of these questions that's just like so judgmental towards myself, because it was just like, is my work important enough? Like, like the world is ending, basically. Everything is going down, and I am making a film about my own healing journey, about my body, about my identity. And I was just like sitting in my room, and I was just like, okay, like let's settle down. I was just with all this negative thoughts and just like racing, like all the anxiety and everything. I'm just then find a moment for myself and take a deep breath and asking, like, who is talking all this shit right now? Like, is this going to benefit me? And then I found myself being angry and frustrated as well with the world and myself as well. And I'm so glad I used that like anger to create to like go forward with the project, because I was just like, you know what? People believe in me. I need to believe in myself. If I don't, like, just fake it till make it, and then like and just do this, and yeah, like I'm really glad that I was surrounded with like lovely people that like support me, that like just really want to hear me rant. And that, yeah, like community is so important in like when we're creating art, or just like in general in life. And I was just like, with my collaborators, I like texted them and be like, I don't feel like creating right now, and they were just like supporting me and be like, no, it's okay, like you're doing great, just like it's fine, And I think also like in that spiral of emotions, I found that like, sometimes like being for myself, being people of like a person of color that still don't really fit into that box, because as a dancer and as a human being too, because like I'm not classically trained at all, I like started dancing in like really late. So again, that like added to that other list of like the full for is imposter syndrome. And then I lost my and then I was just like, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thoughts there. I was on a roll, but yeah, but then I, oh yeah, but then I kind of like fine tuning it and like have a talk with myself and saying that like, hey, you already like being a person of color, you're alive, you're breathing, you're creating art, you're creating something out of nothing. This is your brainchild, and that is enough. You know, like sometimes being yourself and living your truth is a piece of resistance, and that is enough. And we're doing great. We all doing great. Yeah.
Woo! I love and support everything you all just said. I wish we had, more time to during this time, but we four can talk another time. I wanted to just bounce back some of what we just said, including that multidisciplinary is a strength, and all of our ancestors were that, not just one thing, and that didn't diminish. It actually adds to, right, the dancing that we do. And your point, you said underdog, Elvina, and I feel like I've always had a soft spot for the underdog, but I realize now that the only reason they're under is because of other things outside of them, right? What they have is still of value, but I think that, again, like I said at the beginning, many BIPOC, fat, non-binary folks are taken for granted. And the value that we all have is immense, and I love that in this program I've shared, or that you all have a spectrum from something very intimate, with NASRA, and then Mpoe out in Calgary. I have my feelings about Calgary. I know we all do. And then to actually like a quite very largely produced piece, but within all of these pieces, like your beauty shines so much, and nobody can take it, like NASRA said. It's a very real feeling that we feel that somebody could. And acknowledging, that our ancestors live within us, and that's not a made up fear. But I love that you reminded us that like nobody's gonna stop you from shaking it, like nobody, okay? So I think that's the end of our time, actually. Thank you three so much for joining us. Thank you everybody for joining us for the talk back of Program 3. Yes.
Sound on for me. Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
Peace.
Thank you, Chenise. Yes.
I'm so happy and grateful that we all got to see these amazing, amazing artists. I'm so excited for what they have coming next on their journey and what the world is going to see of them, because it is going to be brilliant, brilliant. So thank you to the artists. Thank you so much. Thanks to Toy Guns, and thank you all for watching and listening to the talk back. I hope that you enjoyed